So I'm going to start a video on rounding. And if I have the number 659, but I don't tell you to round it to any specific place value, then you need to round it to the highest place value. And this is the hundreds. So I underline the number in the hundreds column, and then I have to look to the right. If that number is 5 or higher, then that 5 makes the 6 become a 7, and the rest of the numbers become 0. If the number is 649, again, I need to underline the digit in the hundreds column. I look to the right. This is less than 5. So the 6 remains the same, and everything else becomes a 0. Let's pretend the number is 1,270. Now I have to round to the highest place value, and the highest place value would be the thousands. So again, I underline the digit in the thousands. I look to the right. If it's between 0 and 4, the 1 would remain the same. If it's between 5 and 9, this number in the hundreds would make the thousands round up. So since 2 would fall in the 0 to 4, the 1 remains the same, and I fill in the rest of the digits with zeros. If the number is 4,500, again, the highest digit would be the thousands. I look to the right. This is 5. The 5 would make the 4 become a 5. It goes up 1 digit, and everything else becomes zeros. Now, in class, I will give you a number that looks like this. Okay, this number is 271,506. Often, it's best to write ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and then 100,000s. It's helpful because if I said, what's the value of the 2, I already know it's 100,000s. But again, I'm going to round, and I'm going to round to the highest place value. So I underline the digit in the highest place value, which is a 2. I look to the right. The 7 makes the 2 become a 3, and everything else is filled in with zeros. If I am rounding this number, okay, I rounded it to the hundreds now. If I'm rounding it to the 10,000s, the number in the 10,000 spots is 7. I look to the right, and it's a 1. So the 2, nothing's going on with the 2. The 7 is going to remain a 7 because 1 does not get to bump it up. And the rest of the digits are filled in with zeros. Let's say I am rounding, I already rounded to the 10,000s. I'm now rounding to the thousands. I look to the right. So the 2 and the 7 are not affected. Anything after the place value is what is affected. The 5 makes the 1 become a 2, and everything else is a 0. Okay? The next place value I'm going to round to is the hundreds. So I have to underline the digit in the hundreds, and I look to the right. It's a 0. So 2, 7, 1 are not going to get changed. The 5 is going to remain a 5, and 0, 0. The last place value that I can round to is the tens. So the 2 remains the same, the 7, the 1, and the 5. But the 6 makes the 0 become a 1, and everything after is a 0. That is essentially rounding. One last problem for you. Let's say I specifically would like to round to the tens place. I underline the digit in the tens spot, which is a 5. I look to the right. This is a 9, so it's between 0 and 5. This 9 makes the 5 become a 6. Okay? Everything after the 5 is a 0. And then the 3 and the 4 had nothing to do with it, so they're coming along for the ride. If I take the same number and I say I would like to round it to the hundreds, I underline the digit in the hundreds. I look to the right, it's a 5. So the 3, not a part of this deal. The 5 makes the 4 become a 5, and the last two spots